Raised on a Saskatchewan grain farm, my husband Wally became an iron worker in his younger days. In fact, he helped to build the Calgary Tower in 1968. He would walk on those steel beams 600 feet above the ground without a harness. In 2010, he was diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis and lung cancer. In 2011, due to respiratory distress, he was admitted to a very chaotic medical unit. As a clinical systems project manager for the healthcare system, I felt I needed to be his project manager. As his situation deteriorated, a code was called for Wally. The physician gave him two options. Number one, you stay on the unit, and they'll keep him comfortable until he passed, or they could transfer him to intensive care unit and do some investigation. As I walked into the ICU that night, I had immeasurable relief. I could stop being his project manager and I could be his wife. That night, Wally's nurse strictly told me to go home and sleep. When I returned in the morning, Wally was uncomfortable with the nurse's strict orders and nicknamed her Nurse Hatchet, but Nurse Hatchet was exactly what I needed at that time. The next day, in a medically induced coma and on life support, testing began. I was invited to participate in the daily rounds and we waited. No change, no root cause. ICU staff patiently listened to endless stories about my husband and the adventures we had had. After 5 days on life support, I knew I needed to honor Wally's wishes, and I spoke at rounds, suggesting we consider taking him off life support. Afterwards, the attending physician approached me, and he hugged me in a way that made me feel heard and respected. We would take Wally off life support the next day. That evening, the nurse asked if I would like to help bathe my husband. We were on each side of Wally, and we started washing his face. The nurse excused herself, and I was left to bathe my husband alone. That time was so sacred for me, and a memory I am grateful for. Bed assignments were adjusted, so a nurse we had created a relationship with would be with us as we took my husband off life support. He was wrapped in a special blanket and his favorite music played. On September 2nd this year, the Calgary Tower that my husband helped to build was lit red and blue, which represents oxygen exchange.